Not all of the lines of The Flash were actually written in the script. There are some that the actors thought of right on the spot, and you know what? This actually made the show better. So, here are the 10 improvised Flash scenes you thought were real. Let's dive right into it, shall we? Number 10. Carlos Valdez came up with his own quote.
So you're saying there's a timeline out there where I'm not rich? Boy, that's a glitch in the universe.
No.
We're going to be starting this list with Carlos Valdez, or as we all know him, Vibe. You see, Vibe is famous for a lot of different movie lines. He's had some iconic one-liners that have become synonymous with the character. Those include, "Nope, not starting that fetish," or how about, "So you're saying there's a timeline out there where I'm not rich? Boy, that's a glitch in the universe." And our personal favorite, "Naming bad guys? That's my jam." Among the many others, there's this one, "I don't do bees. Ain't nobody got time for bees." And yes, Carlos came up with that one all on his own. He's so at one with the character that the actor started thinking like Vibe. Now that's what you call getting into character. Number 9. The entire show was improvised. And no, it's not just lines and scenes that they're improvising. Basically, The Flash has created a brand new universe. If you're scratching your head, thinking how the heck are they different, this tells us only one thing: you've never read the comics. For all of the real fans out there, the show is completely different from the classic comic books. Now, yes, they do have Barry Allen and Iris West, but even they're not perfect replicas of their comic book counterparts. Let us explain. In the comics, Barry Allen has blonde hair, but on the show, he's got brown hair. Iris West is Caucasian in the comics, but on the show, she's African American. And we're not even going to talk about all of the characters that are original to the show. For example, you can't find Joe West in the comics. Number 8. The two Flashes meet.
Literally. No, this can't be happening.
When Justice League the movie was beginning their casting process, we thought Grant Gustin would definitely get the part. After all, he was the one that was the Flash on TV. Boy, were we in for a surprise. Grant didn't get the part because, as you all know, TV and movies are two separate things. DC went with smashing that like button just like you should do if you haven't done so already. But no, they actually went with Ezra Miller. That's exactly when Stephen Amell, the actor who plays Oliver Queen, protested against this decision. However, the actors playing the two versions of the Flash didn't seem to mind. In fact, there was this short, funny moment that we got to see. It was part of the Crisis on Infinite Earths, and the two Barrys crossed paths. They complimented their suits and they talked to one another, but we don't really know if stroking each other's suits was in the script. That was super creepy, but we have to admit, it was funny as hell. Number 7. Carlos also improvised the crying scene.
From you, especially from you. Because the truth is...
We told you Carlos was in love with his character, and he better be. Why? Because he turned a comic book character that no one loved into a fan favorite. And we, the fans, adore him. He's so funny and such a good actor, the first time we really knew we loved him was during Season 1. It was the 16th episode, and Cisco had just found out Abard's secret. After talking for a minute or two, he knew Reverse Flash would end his life. Fearing for his life and being heartbroken for losing a person he thought was his friend, Cisco couldn't take it anymore, so he broke in tears. But you see, that wasn't in the script. Cisco wasn't supposed to cry before Abard seemingly killed him. Once again, we learned just how crazy these two are. Number 6. It's hard running in flip-flops.
Go to 11! What's going on?
Who else thought that Ralph Dibny was the clumsiest person you've ever met? I mean, when Barry and Iris finally went on vacation to unwind from all the crime fighting and the stress, Ralph did something. He triggered the alarm in the lab by accident, so instead of watching Netflix, he actually wound up with a death threat. As soon as Barry heard the alarm, he picked up Iris and they ran back to the office. When they realized it was a false alarm, Iris's head almost exploded. Barry could barely keep her from grabbing Dibny by the throat and ending him, and even though Barry tried to calm her down, he wasn't too happy about what happened. Why? Because he had to run hundreds of miles in flip-flops. Number 5. Joe's ingenious AQUAMAN reference.
You disappeared to Amnesty Bay to investigate a story about a man who could talk to fish.
When you can't make reference to another DC character, you have to improvise. Joe and everyone else on the show had to come up with a new way of naming popular DC characters. That's why when Barry ran off to have a chat with AQUAMAN, they couldn't even mention the name. So that's why Joe wound up calling him a guy that talks to fish. I mean, come on! Didn't they believe the show would be successful? And yes, the other cast members kept making these references to Atlantis and the kingdom under the sea. I mean, can you get any more obvious than that? Number 4. Harrison and Ebbard meet.
Aren't you a handsome devil? Wells.
In this scene, Harrison Wells, the brilliant scientist whose body Ebbard took, finally stood in the same room. While Reverse Flash tried threatening him with death, Wells came prepared. In fact, he loaded his entire body with tiny microbots that he then programmed to repel any force that came speeding into his body, aka Reverse Flash. When he saw that there's no way of killing him, Ebbard ran for his life as Wells reached for the gun to pulverize him. He was running slightly faster in that scene. Number 3. Iris finds out Oliver Queen is Green Arrow.
Oliver Queen is the Green Arrow?
Yeah.
Oh my god, he just got so much hotter.
This was something Candice Patton, the actress who plays Iris, came up with during the shooting. She even bragged about it on her Twitter account. Here's how that story went down. You see, Iris thought that Oliver Queen was super hot, don't we all? Anyways, that's not the point. What we're trying to talk about here is what she said when she found out that Oliver Queen is actually the Green Arrow. Without any hesitation, Iris turns to Barry and says, "So Barry, Oliver Queen is the Green Arrow." Oh my god, he's just got so much hotter. And that last part was actually something our Iris came up with on the spot. Number 2. Zooping was created by accident. The cast of The Flash has a special reference to Barry Allen speeding around the city, with lightning bolts flying off behind him. They call it zooping, and here's how this name stuck with everyone from the show. You see, the director of the pilot episode of The Flash kept referring to the speeding blur as zoop or zooping. The actors kept hearing it from David Nutter, and after a while, they all started using it as part of the show. Now that we think of it, that's an ingenious way to refer to this phenomenon. Number 1. The improvisation of the comics created a new comic book series. Because there are lots of original characters and we couldn't find Joe West in the old comics, they decided to make a brand new comic book series. It's called The Flash DC Rebirth, and it was written by Joshua Williamson. Because the show was so powerful, lots of fans wanted to see some people of color being represented in the comics, so this is why the new rival comics are so popular. The first issue came out in August of 2016 after the New 52 ended. This is a bi-monthly issue, and yes, it has the African-American version of Iris West in it, as well as Wally West. It's good to see that fans are beginning to accept different races in the comics. Even though there was somewhat of an upheaval when they announced Candice Patton would be playing Iris, seemed like fans came to their senses. On a related note, do you think that the improvised version is better? Or would you have preferred the original? You can tell us in the comment section below. If you'd like more videos like these, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of them. And as always, thanks for watching, guys!